Good morning. It's Wednesday, March 1st, 2023. My name is Terry Morgan. We are here to practice the foundations for a Wudang sword. Foundations for any double-edged sword, really. There's not the single-edged sword, double-edged sword. Let's get started. Feet about shoulder width apart. And straight. Bend the knees, wiggle fingers, wiggle the toes. And circle to the front. Back around to both sides. Up along the center line. And reach out over the legs. Yeah, a little bit fast. Everything should move fluidly, right? So as you get started, this whole idea of a big stretch so that fingertips up, elbows drop down, wrists, hands return to your sides. So this idea of this big stretch so that we're at least a little bit loosened up before we get started. Now, I have not been doing too much in form practice and paying attention to this or that sequence because these sessions are intended to be more about the basics. This idea of slice across, slice down, lift up, slice out. Which direction is the blade going? What am I trying to do with it, this edge? Right? Straight in. What am I trying to do with it? And what does this particular thing, double-edged sword, what does it do? Doesn't do the same thing as a staff. It doesn't do the same thing as a broadsword. So paying attention to the particulars of what I have and what I can do with it has been the focus for these sessions and continues to be my focus for today. Alright, yesterday I showed a little bit and so I could put in context some of what we're doing. So from dragon sword, right? Let me slow that down a little bit. Right? So as I come around this a little couple extra, right? Don't do that. It's really not that much. Okay? And this is something that I wasn't intending to point out, but I'm going to. That adding a little bit more, don't do it. I'm talking to myself for a part of that, all right? Don't do it. Why? Well, I can. Does it add anything to what you're doing? Or what you could be doing? Does it add anything to the possible opportunities for using whatever it is that you're doing, whether you've got something in your hand or not? If the answer to that question is no, don't do it. I had a gentleman who came to study with me once, and he learned a lot of extra techniques, I'll say, from the person that had been teaching him. Couldn't use any of them. He could, sort of. He was using a very intelligent person, so he could do some things. And So first, second class, something like that. I asked him about it. I said, how did you, what was the underlying method? What was the principle that was behind what you're doing here? And so, and that's the point. Lots and lots of technique. Hey, technique. Okay, technique. What did I do? Was there something there? It might have been. It's possible. I have to look for it. I have to work at it. It's possible. There's something there. It is. It's possible. Is it clear? Nope. Does it have some connection, apparent connection to something that I might do? No. Then, hey, what was that? What was the intent behind? Not, can I hit this, slap this, go here, go here, go here, do this, move this? No. What's the intent behind? What am I trying to do? No. Something came at me. I said no. That's my intent. Alright? As I pay attention to that, what do I have? What can I do? And what might I be able to do in the context of whatever it is I'm doing? How do I maneuver? How do I not catch my sweater? Right? How do I maneuver what's in my hand? What do I do with this? Right? I am going to be in the other room when I do Dragon Sword, so it's going to be okay. I really don't want to take out the light fixture up here. I've come close a couple of times, and I don't want to do that. This exercise that I'm doing right now, just changing hands and slice down, change hands, slice down, is one that I practiced for, I don't know, pretty much forever. I started because I was having trouble holding the sword. Where is it? What am I doing with it? Right? Where is it supposed to be? Do I have it or not? Right? And this exercise, I'm still going, yep. This exercise gives me a couple of things, and I'm going to stop it. It's a couple of things. All right. One is that both hands are working. It's not just your sword hand, because I'm right-handed, so it's always going to be my right hand. Everything that I've learned, with the exception of seeing the double-edged swords from Madame Wang Zhurong, has been the sword in the right hand. Okay, so changing hands is absolutely possible, can be done, should be done. I didn't do it. If somebody was learning from me and they were left-handed and they want to work with their left hand, I would encourage them to do that. Okay? It would be a challenge to change the direction and the emphasis for all of the movements. It would be. Is that something that I'm personally going to go work on? Probably not. Is it something that could be done? Absolutely. So as I'm starting out, right, Change hands. That direction change, and so I'm going to stop for a second and talk about that. That direction change and that emphasis of I'm going left side, right side, does have bearing on how the chi flows through the body and how we feel about what it is we're doing. So there is more to it than just, okay, you go ahead and change. That idea that we're going to do something on the other side, right, is something that we work with frequently. And most of what I've done has been a combination of these things for the left side, these things for the right side. We see this in Qigong practice. When we start out our Qigong practice, I have my right hand on the outside, and as I was taught by Professor Liu, who taught me the Wudang Qigong, gentlemen, left hand on the outside. The way in which humans develop and I don't know, possess, and it's not right, really the right word. The way we are, right? It's just part of the way we are. There is that foundation for how we should and how we could practice. So if I were in my late teens and living at Wudang Shan, and I had my schoolwork and nothing else to do during the day, I might decide that I like practicing martial arts and I would join a class, or I would go practice on my own. If I've got 4 or 5 hours a day to practice on my own, I'm probably going to pay attention to working on both sides, and I'm going to do quite a few other things as well. That difference, what do I have? What do I have in my hand? What do I have to work with? What do I have? What time do I have to practice? Do I have 4 or 5 hours every day that I can do something? Then I'm going to not only get better at doing whatever it is I'm doing, I'm going to develop it further because of my practice. Because I'm getting up and doing it 4 or 5 hours a day. That level of effort is almost impossible for most people in the modern world. It really is tough. If you're a professional athlete, that's what you do. That is what you do. If you're training for something, say you're training for a triathlon, you're training for a marathon race, that is part of what you do. Is you're going to get up and you're going to go run. You're going to get up and you're going to go train. That is part of how we develop our skill. Is that what am I doing? How much am I doing it? Yeah, right? If I'm practicing for 20 minutes a day, it's different than if I'm practicing for 2 hours a day. I'm practicing for 3 days a week. That's different than I'm practicing 3 hours a day, 7 days a week. Right? That difference shows in how we move, it shows in what we are able to do, and it shows in our facility with what we're able to do. I practiced. I did. All right. Yesterday, I talked about the circles, and we worked this little circle over here. Yeah, I just did that. Alright, it's little circle, little bitty circle, little bit bigger circle, little bit bigger circle. Notice that there's really not much moving except the sword and my hand. Now, I am thinking about drawing this big circle, and I am thinking about where I'm putting the tip of the blade, and I am thinking about keeping the blade level, it's flat, as I draw that circle. And this is an inward circle. I'm going to from the outside to the inside, and it's counterclockwise. Other way. Little bitty circle. Little bitty tiny circle. Little bitty circle. Bigger circle. Alright, relax. Being able to do that, that type of this practice, right? Extend the sword. I can. Out here is more difficult. Here is a little bit easier, right? The sword needs to be balanced in my hand sufficiently that I'm working both this end and that end. Right? That little bit, that's a circle. I'm not just waving them, I'm not just bobbing up and down. It's a little circle. That little circle, I'm going to make this bigger. This is a big circle, right? Just a little bitty circle, right? That little bitty circle with the tip of the blade is one of the things that we want to be able to do. Does it how do I say this? Do we use it in the forms? Yes. Is it affected? No. And by that, what do I mean? So, as this is at the very beginning here, as this comes around, there's 1 and 2. That's the move. Little circle. If we understand that at a foundation level, if we have paid attention, let's make the circle. Where am I going with this? What am I doing? It's a little bitty circle. We're developing the wrist. We're developing the dexterity to do that, to actually make that circle. It's not I'm going to say it another way. When I first started, it was not easy for me to do that. It took a lot of practice for me to get my wrist to where I could actually hold the sword and get it to make that little bitty circle and be able to do that at will. All right? It took me quite a few years of practice to be able to do that. Now, somebody else might be able to do that faster. That dexterity, slice and dice, is part of what we want to develop. It's not an add-on to pay attention to the end of the blade. It's the end of the blade. If I had a staff, and I've used this repeatedly, if this was not intended to be pointy, if it was intended to be blunt. Staff, short staff, long staff, either one. The end is blunt. What I expect to do with a blunt end thing versus what I expect to do with a sharp pointy end thing, they're different. And the way that we move, the way that we handle whatever it is we have, makes a difference. Just now, I brought this up across, and notice that I'm here. Don't do this. Don't hit yourself, really. The movements that we do always give us the opportunity to be somewhere else when the sword comes back. Alright, so here, slice across. Where am I going to go from here? No, I'm not. No. Right? So here, I might come down. Right? I might come back out. But, yeah, no. And notice my arm, but that's kind of awkward. Okay? Don't do that. Always anticipate where you're going next. So, okay, so this is kind of a double thing. You pay attention to what you're doing, but you always have to pay attention to where you're going next. So here, what are my opportunities? Where can I go from here? I can step forward. I can come down. I can come back this way. I can come this way. Pretty much, that's it. It's quite a bit. And then I could step and do something else too. So there are other opportunities to do something. What might I do? I could do that. That little circle, down and out. Catch it, move it. That little bitty circle. If I were intended there, right? I'm gonna go back to this. What do I have? What can I do with it? All right. The figure eight, and I talked about this yesterday, so we're gonna work on this. Outside of my hand here, right? This inside of my hand. We're gonna do both. Outside, come around, outside. Come around, outside, outside. As we slice down here, this figure eight, outside of the hand. Come around, outside, come around. Turn the sword. See if I can do that. So each time slice down. Turn it over and slice down. We're going to go faster. Okay, so I'm going to start slow. I'm going to turn around. Slice down through the center. Let the sword turn over so you can slice down again. Relax the hand. Elbow down, left hand at the right shoulder. Slice down, turn it over, slice down, and slice down. Nice and easy. Slice down to the center. Let it turn over. Relax the wrist, relax the elbow, keep the elbow down. Slice down. And a little bit faster, and pay attention to the tip. Each time slice down to the center. Where's the tip? And just a little bit faster. All right, and relax. That little slice and dice, right? That gives us dexterity, and because the way I gave the exercise forces us to pay attention to this slice down, right here. Right? Other side, the other way. We're going to go the other way now. All right, down and down. Inside, inside. Again, we start out slow. Pay attention to this direction and this direction. Feet back, shoulder width apart. Extend. Left hand to the right shoulder. Turn the hand. Slice down. Slice down. Inside. The inside edge of the blade. Slice down. Big circle. And speed it up just a little bit. Relax the hand. And a little bit smaller. 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 Bigger. Smaller. Bigger. Smaller. And bigger. And stop. Alright. That little bit. The tip of the blade has to be able to work, right? If it's not working, you can't do this. All right, that extension is part of what we want to develop. Now, is that the only thing that we need to pay attention to? Absolutely not. This slice and sweep down, we need that too. We need this. We need this one too. We need to be able to extend. That combination of things, all of the things that we're doing with the sword, slice, extend forward, whatever it is we're doing, is an extension of what we have developed internally and how we have learned, how we're learning, to extend what we've learned into and through whatever it is we have, whether it's a straight sword, a staff, whatever it is. Part of my emphasis on this, extending what we have and being able to do certain things with the sword and paying attention to how it moves, is essential. I mean, there's no other way to say it. Is essential for dragon sword. In Chinese, 龙化剑, dragon becomes a sword. This is a dragon. It should move. It's not, no. That's better. All right. So as we're paying attention to what it is we're doing, how the sword moves also makes a difference. Okay, so what am I doing? Slice down. How am I doing it? Oh, little bit of difference. The first one is kind of the plain with maybe a little salt and pepper, and the second one's got a little spice to it. That spice, we want that. We do. That ability to extend and to enhance, not change, enhance what we're doing by using the breath, the intent, the physical body, understanding the physics of the movement. What goes on? Seriously, what's going on in this movement? What do I have to do to make this thing move? It's inert right now. It's not doing anything. It's just gravity is holding it right here. If I want it to move, I have to do something. How do I want it to move? I can do this, and I have to do something. I can do this, I have to do something else. I can do this, I have to do something else. What am I doing? How did I make this move? What's the physics behind it? What's direction, angle, force, right? How much force can I bring? Because it's not physical force necessarily that's going to make what I'm doing work well. It's the internal workmanship, the internal force. Nagel, internal workmanship. That practice and familiarity with what it is I'm doing. That's what's going to give me that skill. I could do this. It's not the same. It's not. The combinations that we've been paying attention to, a circle, right? Slice across, come back. All of these contribute to what else it is, because we're doing other things in forms, contribute to everything else that we are doing. So if I'm beating up on this because this is the last of these classes here. If I'm struggling to keep the blade level, okay, blade's not level. It's not. Look where my hand is. My hand is. There we go. Now it's level. Now it's not. Now it's level. Now it's not. Right? If I'm struggling to keep the blade level, then this slice is going to be a problem, right? No. Yes. Slice and in. I can do that. This is not slice. This is something else. I don't know what this is, right? We're not going to do this. We don't do this. We do this. No? Yes. That foundation, knowing where the sword is, knowing what you've got in your hand, knowing what it can do, that fundamental idea is what I've been stressing. It does matter, and I'm probably going to beat up on it every time I teach sword class, so paying attention to what you've got in your hand matters. As I finish this foundation set up, the underlying practice, it's not just what you do with the sword, it's what you've done without it that you bring to what you're going to do with the sword and in your own practice, right? So when I, just because on account of, yes, I am checking for space here. It matters that I can move into that stance. It matters that my leg's going to hold up, right? It matters that I understand what's going on here to move the sword and bring it back. Where is it? Yeah, I am going that way again. Once I get up from that one, I'm going that way again. That understanding of where I'm going, right? What I might do. The form gives us part of that. That's how we learn what I might do, is this form is going to give it to us. And what I don't want to do. I don't want to hit myself with the sword. I don't. I really don't. No, ouch. That would hurt. The opponent maybe, but not me. I don't want to do that. So what can I do? What do I have? What are my opportunities? And when I'm moving, when I'm paying attention to what it is I'm doing, is it consistent with what I might do? Not what I have to do, what I might do in an application. Is there some intent behind? Does it look like a martial art? Right? Is it clear? I'm going to put it another way. Is it clear that there is something, whether you understand it fully or not, is it clear that there is something behind this movement? That it's not just waving the sword around in space or waving your hands around in space. Is that clear? If it is, keep going. If it's not, why not? Part of that is going to be something that I will teach in Dragon Sword class, which is coming up. I'm going to stop here for today. We have Thursday and Friday this week, Wudang Qigong. Foundation sets on Thursday. Advanced sets on Friday. Next week, I'm not going to be here Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I have talked about this. I've got a whole series of things that I've been working on. Some things for this class, as well as being able to add to it, as well as a couple other positive things that I'm trying to get done. So, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, next week, I'm going to take off and see if I can't do some of the things that I've been trying to get done and haven't gotten done yet. And Thursday and Friday will be Wudang Qigong. After that, Wudang Sword. Wudang Dragon Sword. I'm going to go slow. There are things that I need to pay attention to and some things that I need to work on. I need some additional work. I still need some work on. Alright, so I'm going to go slow. Not next week, but the week after. We'll start Wudang Dragon Sword. Pay attention to the foundations. If you're thinking you're going to join the class, pay attention to the foundations today and the last couple of weeks. Where's the sword? What am I doing with it? And do I know where it is? Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.